Scratching my Wolverine, that sounds rude. Games development, like any kind of software development, is complicated. The sheer number of paths that a modern game engine might have to take to, say, make a character take a step forward. You got to load in all your graphics, it's your 3D models, textures, the geometry of the world, music, sound effects, all the code that governs the animation, the physics, the AI. If you laid this all out on paper, it would look like Tolstoy wrote a choose your own adventure book. And it's only gotten more complex as technology marches on, so we really shouldn't be surprised when a game comes out with a couple of bugs in it. It's not an excuse, of course, they should have tested the damn thing, but it gives me an excuse to trot out my old mantra. A bug found is not necessarily a bug fixed. Especially with some of the ridiculous deadlines that developers are expected to meet, as if the mere act of saying a game will release sooner will make it so. Publishers, you're not bloody Time Lords. Knock it off. But knock it off they won't, so corners are going to be cut in any way possible. One of the popular ways of doing this is to scrap incomplete features in favour of working on something else. If you want a crafting system, for a bad example, but your game crashes after 2 hours, you're going to focus on the latter problem. If you're smart, and you don't hate your customers and or all humans. But why is it when people go digging into the game files that they find remnants of these abandoned features? We can't see them in games, so why is there any trace of them? Well, that's because the simplest, easiest, quickest and safest way to cut these features is pretty much to hide them. Now, some of these features were never meant to be seen at all. The most famous example I can think of is probably something you're familiar with, the Konami code. One of the programmers for the Famicom port of the game, Kazuhisa Hashimoto, found the game too hard, so he added a button code to give himself a full complement of power-ups. When it came time to release the game, he simply forgot to take it out. And if that's accurate, then it's amazing how one little memory lapse can lead to such an enduring Easter egg. Even if I'm convinced that half the entries on the Wikipedia page for Konami code are complete and utter bollocks. As for the features that actually had a chance of being seen, well, if you don't have time to work on the features, you probably don't have a lot of time to remove them either. Knights of the Old Republic 2 was rushed out the door so fast, I can only assume LucasArts made a bet or they were trying to get some kind of revenge. This left a lot of unfinished content that no one could see, including an entire planet. Well, the KOTOR version of a planet, 10 to 15 rooms, but still a significant chunk of gameplay. Thanks to things like the restored content mod getting integrated into a Steam update for the game, we know all about this, but when the game shipped, nobody did. It was a secret, it was hidden. Now, if nobody was meant to see it, why not remove it from the game properly? Aren't the files just taking up space on the disk? Yeah, same as I said before, games development is complicated. Are the models or textures used elsewhere? If you remove them, crash. Is that bit of dialogue used anywhere else or is it just for this area? If it's not, crash. If I remove that area, will another part of the game try to use it for a cutscene? If it does, you get the idea. Your general goal with games development is not to make the game crash. Unless you're a tester, I suppose, but generally crashes are not something anybody wants. Imagine your game is a Jenga tower and the part you want to remove is the block near the bottom. If you remove that block, the tower might stay up, but there's a good chance it won't. So you can see the benefit behind the play it safe approach. So those are the benefits to the game developer version of throw a blanket over it. Now, is there any reason not to take this approach? Sometimes, if the consequence of the feature being found were to, say, raise the age rating of your game. I think you all know what I'm talking about. It's GTA San Andreas and the hot coffee controversy. And hopefully the video title will now make sense. In this game you could go on dates with women. Normally you'd drop them off at the end and that would be that. Install this mod and instead you might get invited in to watch emotionless puppets simulate some oral sex before proceeding to full-on rumpy bumpy, with the player controlling thrusting. Rockstar, in addition to whining that their end-user license agreement had been violated, said this was entirely the work of the person who made the mod, nothing to do with them. Now, in the PC space this is perfectly possible. It's a very moddable arena, people can generally do what they want. Until the person who made the mod released a GameShark code that worked on consoles. In case you don't know, GameShark cheat devices work by altering values stored in memory as the game is running. No extra files, nothing on the level of an actual mod, merely altering an existing value. Meaning the code that hid this mod probably looked something like this, and that was the value that got changed. It's been claimed that the mod itself only altered a single bit of data. A bit. That's the smallest piece of electronic information anyone concerns themselves with. 0 or 1, true or false. Just enough in that case to say yes or no to some hot wooden puppet action. End result, San Andreas has its age rating increased to adults only, also known as the commercial suicide rating. Because you think Walmart's going to carry an adults only game? Rockstar, in addition to whining again that their end user license, released a new version of the game for store shelves and a patch for the existing version with one goal in mind: reduce that age rating by eradicating all trace of hot coffee. At least mostly. It's been noted that the blowjob animation used in hot coffee can be seen in the background of an early mission, even in the clean release. Remember what I said before about not removing assets in case they're used elsewhere? There you go. So whilst it's pretty common practice to dummy features out by using the quickest, easiest method, maybe comment that line out next time. It probably wasn't coming back. Then you don't have to worry about this stuff happening ever again. And that's not even a malicious example. Recently we had Journey of the Light come out, going from calling itself the hardest game on Steam to nobody being able to beat the first level, to Steam offering unconditional refunds for anyone who bought the game. Steam, who only put in a robust refund system after 11 years of selling games. But why did Steam do this? Well, someone had to dig around into Journey of the Light's files and found that half the level files were duplicates. The same person even went so far as to trick the game into loading those later level files. What did the opening text say? Chapter 1. Same file copied a bunch of times and renamed to make it look like there was more than one level. This sad little excuse for a developer tried to scam the entire gaming community with the "it's so hard you not beat" ploy, which actually, sad to say, kind of worked. But here it is coming back to bite them in the ass thanks to somebody who just took a wee look. I mean, say what you want about Rockstar's bullshit PR department, they never thought hot coffee would be seen at all. They weren't actively trying to deceive anyone. Except when they said it was all the work of a modder, nothing to do. And sometimes you'll find things that have been hidden for no particular reason. I think you'd be surprised how many games you've played that have things secretly hidden in the code. Greetings, shoutouts, polite requests not to break the copy protection, angry requests not to break the copy protection, rants. Actually, the latter two are the most common. Then again, sometimes it's the complete and utter opposite. Sega Smash Pack was a compilation of Mega Drive games released for the Dreamcast. One of the programmers left a message to crackers giving them details on how they could make the console run any Mega Drive game, not just the ones that came with Sega Smash Pack. Where was the information held? A text file on the disc bearing the name of a well-known cracker group. That's just cheeky. Funny, but a bit cheeky. Of course, this type of scavenger hunt malarkey doesn't always go well. The first batch of Tiger Woods 99 for the PS1 had to be recalled after someone looked into the contents of the disc and found a copy of The Spirit of Christmas, which some of you might recognise as Trey Parker and Matt Stone's student film, which was an early precursor to South Park. I don't think EA wanted that to be found in their E for Everyone game. I can't even think of a reason to put it there apart from somebody playing silly buggers. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons to hide something in a game. It wasn't finished, it would have been unsafe to remove, the whole tone of the game changed, you want to leave a little message, a rant, a shout out, you've actually got more respect for a whereas group than you do for the company you work for. To be fair, I can sometimes understand that last one. Forced moral is, if you're going to leave something in there that nobody's meant to see, consider how bad it'll be when someone inevitably finds it. Because if gamers think there's gold somewhere in there, you'll find an army of Sherlocks coming out of the woodwork to prove them right or wrong. But if all you want to do is rant about your co-worker who never showers, then that's probably fine. If you don't put your own name on it. If you'd like to see more examples of gaming leftovers, I can highly recommend The Cutting Room Floor, which is a wonderful repository of gaming knowledge and something which helped me out greatly when I ran that Games Trivia Twitter account. Same rules apply here as they do for any other wiki though. You can get lost in there. Hours. I'm talking hours. Also, Unseen64 has a bunch of information on lots of games in their demo, alpha, beta and general pre-release forums. Ugh, right, that's me. All this trivia is making me dizzy. I can't think of a question. I'm gonna go have a lie down. Cheers.